I'd just like to apologise for completely getting the name of Iwerne wrong twice in two different forms. It's not Iwerne or Iwerne, it's Iwerne. And it makes a lot of sense if you think of it as a diphthong. The letter W literally means to use, double U, and an I and a U together could come out as U, which is what we've got here, and it may very well have been spoken like that in Old English times. It almost definitely was. So yes, I hope there's no Americans around watching this, because I would be mortified to see our brothers across the ocean see me get a British place name wrong. However, I should have anticipated this. Well, I did anticipate, which is why I was apologising all the way through the first episode. But it's still an interesting place. So it's named after the brook that runs next to the settlement. There's two Iwerne settlements. There's Iwerne Minster and Iwerne Courtney, and the Iwerne in Old English times sounded probably like Iwenbrock, which means the Iwerne Brook. Iwerne Brock. But anyway, we've just gone up Hod Hill. There's two Iron Age forts here. One Hod Hill and the other one Hambledon Hill. They're very close together, a short walk from each other. And Hod Hill is the more interesting because it has other antiquities from a different period in there that's really quite interesting. But I'll just point out, as you can see on this map, these parishes here, these manors, are part of Dorset, which in Old English times was known as Dorsetum. And that's interesting in itself because that's a plural. So it does suggest there were many Dorsets. It was a collection of Dorsets at some time. But we've got three. So the settlements, the UN settlements, go north up the river, up the brook, and the hundreds, which is a sort of collective administrative unit for more than one village, goes horizontally east to west. Stourpaine at the bottom is in a different hundred from Iwerne Courtney, which is in a different hundred from Iwerne Minster. Sorry, I haven't put a label there. It's that grey blob there at the top. But it's in the place name society when talking about the Ferendon 100, they put a question mark. They can't find it, yet the person that talks about a nearby village mentions that Farrington, which is very close to here, used to be called Ferendone. So I've citizen archaeologists 1, historians 0. There's some dispute. Some people say it's a Roman sword with Celtic gubbings on it. So yeah, my thoughts on it, I think it is Iron Age, and I think is an import of a Roman blade, beautifully decorated by a Celtic chief. Now, somewhere around here, now I've just shown you a ring monument. It probably doesn't exist anymore, but there's this rectangular one. There was one rectangular building amongst all of them. So everybody lived in round huts. Now you can interpret it what you like, but what's interesting is that when this place was attacked during the Roman invasion, the only place that archaeologists or antiquarians found ballista bolts was in that one building, and that's fascinating. There's a load of them in there. Now they could have been collected, they could have been using that hut as target practice after winning. Who knows, they could have just had to tidy up. But there's some other, you know, some other stories that we could tell about it. Perhaps because there was no, according to the Victoria County history, there was no record of a fight at the gates, and only some evidence of a fight in this one hut. Perhaps somebody refused to leave, or the Romans wanted to humiliate a cultural symbol, you know. Perhaps it was a temple, perhaps it was the chief's hut, or a, you know, mausoleum, whatever. But it's interesting that ballista bolts were only found there, and then what that does is nicely move us along to the Romans. Romans, they took over this place. Whether or not there was much of a fight, the archaeologists don't think there was, but they set up what you're seeing here in a higgledy, well, not a higgledy-piggledy, in the Iron Age, the Celtic forts here has an irregular line that's basically sort of a wobbly square circle thing that follows a contour, so it makes maximum use of the space to cause as much of a slope to any enemies approaching on as many sides as possible. And it's a very good site for that. What the Romans did when they took over, they built their own fort in a corner of it to occupy it. And I've never seen this with my own eyes. I know in Scotland, or near to the borders anyway, you've got some Roman forts on the same hills as Iron Age forts. But this is inside, and I've never seen it face to face. You can see how regular and straight it is, even to, you know, more than 1500 years later. So you're seeing a curve there, but it's a regular curve. It's a smoothed edge, a smoothed corner, straight edge, smooth corner. It's regular. The only bit that's not regular is on the very edge, where it drops down into the valley. So now a lot of the finds found up here, there's loads and loads of it. The British Museum has got 4,000 bits and bobs found here. Bits of armour, bits of belt buckles, bits of swords, stuff like that. And so it was, but they didn't stay here very long, because I only found coins that were I've forgotten which emperor it was, but they were coins only. They were coins only for a very small period, very close to the beginning of the beginning part of the war, the invasion. So I'm looking in every hole that rabbits have dug up, looking for, in case there's any pottery or whatever, just to show you. I'll leave stuff here that if I find anything, but I probably won't. But pottery is very exciting to find, ancient pottery. So there's loads and loads of Roman here. Some of the finds, I think there was a Bronze Age or a Neolithic mace head, which is very beautiful. You can go to the British Museum website to have a look at that. And that Iron Age sword I was talking about. But yeah, they didn't stay here very long. It's interesting, the topology of the landscape. Right next to each other are two forts, just over in the distance. No more than a mile away is another Iron Age fort. So a wise Roman general would have... oh, we've got a fight going on. So all that talk of violence is still going on even today. Maybe the place is cursed. But oh no, they started off again. Knock it off, you two. But, yeah, very short period. My theory is that you've got 2 Iron Age forts. You clear the Celts out of this part. They go over, they retreat over to the other one. You go and follow them over there. They come over here, and then it just turns into an episode of Benny Hill. So my feelings. Oh, there's a causeway here as well. So that could very well explain why they've gone up here, because they don't really care about hills, the Romans. So some of my favourite places, Roman places, are at the bottom, down in the valleys. They're interested in, you know, expressions of power, but also stabilising the state, commerce, logistics, and all that sort of stuff. Being on top of hills doesn't help any of that. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's quite a beautiful day. I can't believe I forgot my coat. It just goes to show it does feel like it's getting a bit milder. But bodes well for springtime. But there are some really interesting. I love these there's a really nice illustration in the Victoria County history, which I put a link to, and you can look at this. It's really nice.